I'm going to share with you the 5 lessons I learned in 2024 from thousands of coaching hours with top performers in every field you can think of and working alongside some of the best names in the industry. These skills have taken me to a place where I feel better about my business than I ever have, and the same lessons I've been teaching to my clients as I've learned them. So, without further explaining, these are the 5 lessons I wish I knew a year ago. Number one, your business is a vehicle for personal development. I knew this, but I was reminded many, many times throughout the year. I have come to learn that as business owners, we are all on a personal development journey that runs parallel next door to our business growth. Everything we are struggling with in our business is exactly what we need to work on to become a better human being, to become better in every other part of our lives. So, if you want to take the pressure off your business, which you should, look at it as a personal development journey. If you're struggling in sales, you can likely improve your communication and listening skills with your spouse and with your family. If you're struggling in content and marketing, you likely need to improve your belief in yourself and your understanding of who you really are. And if you're just generally not where you want to be, ask yourself lots of questions, especially why questions, to figure out what actually drives you and why you want the things you say you want. This is the hardest part for most entrepreneurs. In the process of growing your business, you will learn a ton about yourself. Now, the next one is a two-parter. So lesson number 2, part 1 of 2. If you want different results, you must go all in and force yourself out of your comfort zone. You must be relentless in finding the patterns that are holding you back. After being in Marbella with a group of fitness business owners who were all jacked and shredded, I decided to reinvest in my fitness, even though for years I had told myself I didn't need a coach. I had a degree in kinesiology. I had been a trainer for 10 years. But through July, August, and September, I was more dialed in on my nutrition and training than I had ever been. I lost 10 pounds that I didn't know that I had to lose. I saw my abs for the first time since I was a skinny hockey player, except this time I wasn't skinny. And there were multiple times, often multiple times a week, when I didn't want to do my scheduled workout and I didn't want to stick to my nutrition plan. But I had committed to myself. And more importantly, I had committed to my unborn son that I would be super fit when he arrived. This forced me to ask so many questions of myself and helped me realize how much more capacity that I have than I thought I had. When you go all in, when you get out of your comfort zone, you are forced to find patterns that aren't serving you. And the big one for me was I didn't need to enjoy it all the time. I thought that if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. I don't need to enjoy it all the time. I just need to do the work that is required to get where I want to go. Now, lesson number 3 is part 2 of this one. If you want different results, you must ask yourself better questions. Now, I took about 3 weeks off of coaching calls around my son's birth. And since my wife had an unplanned C-section, I was basically alone doing everything for the first 2 weeks that we were home. All she could really do physically was feed our son. So my son and I spent a lot of time together during those 2 weeks, went on a lot of long walks just so my wife could get a break and I could keep my sanity. I found myself feeling more energized even though I was sleeping less. And I was tending to the entire house and I was taking care of a human baby for the first time in my life. So I started digging in, I started asking questions, and I realized that it was likely because I wasn't on any coaching calls. Now that led me to start asking more questions and brought me to the conclusion that I need to be on less coaching calls overall moving forward. No amount of money is worth it if I'm on Zoom calls all day to the point that I'm a zombie when it comes time to spend time with my family. This set me on a path to ask some deeper, more specific questions about not only how to make more money, but to only make the money in a way that worked for me. I no longer had the luxury of just leaning into more work, more clients, more Zoom calls. I now had these caveats and boundaries to my work. And that led me to coming up with a new offer, which I've actually presented to several people. I've started selling it, and I'm going to be delivering my coaching curriculum within other people's businesses. I've found a way to create value without having to be on Zoom. It allows me to spread my powerful work and be on far less Zoom calls. And I only came to that by forcing myself to ask better questions. So many people ask the simple question of more. That is not a good question because that just brings a whole mess of other issues. So if you want better results, ask better questions. Lesson number 4, everything you want already exists. Right around the same time that my son was born, I found a coach named David Bayer. He teaches a lot of the same stuff as I do, but unfortunately on a much higher level, and I'm working towards that. And he explained this concept that I had already known in a way, but made so much more sense to me. Repeating the late, great Neville Goddard, he said, there are two realities that exist simultaneously. There's this three-dimensional, five senses reality that we refer to as our lives. But simultaneous to that, there's another reality. And Neville refers to it as the fourth dimension. It's the reality of imagination, the reality of potential. People refer to this as the quantum field or consciousness. And it is an equivalent reality, but you can't sense it with your five senses. So most people are like, I can't experience this, so who cares? Well, this is how we can co-create with God or co-create with the universe. This is how we can easily engineer the impossible and turn everything we touch into gold by assuming it's already done and stepping into the fourth dimension through imagination. This concept set me free. And to go back to the last point about asking better questions, it helped me say to the universe, if what I want is already done, if that question I'm asking is already answered in the quantum field, then show me what I need to know today that's going to allow me to get there faster. And it's been incredible, the downloads I've gotten from the universe, from God, from whatever you want to believe. If we choose to assume, we get to choose this. If we choose to assume that it's already done, we act from a different place. And that's the incredible power of the imagination and of the fourth dimension. Now, the fifth and final lesson that I learned in 2024 is that you must earn your belief in your vision. So around this time of year, the end of the year, I love to do a lot of vision work. I teach a lot of people how to create their vision. You've hopefully created a vision for this year or maybe for even further out. But a friend of mine was recently at an event and one of the speakers said, we live in a chronic state of disbelief. And what he meant was that society, the people around us, and this three-dimensional reality that we're living are constantly making it harder for us to believe that our vision is possible. We can do the work, we can ask the questions, we can create the vision, but if we're not diligent on building our belief in our vision, the world will rip it away from us with quote unquote reality. So we need to dive in, all in, on earning our belief that the future we want can come true and that what we want is possible because no one else is going to do it for us. In fact, most people are going to fight us on it. Most people will actively dissuade you from believing and from going after it out of their own fear and their own limitations. So what I've implemented is a vision review every day. It takes less than 5 minutes. A visualization every day where most importantly, I feel the feelings that I'm chasing. And a walkatate where I ask the universe, where I ask God for a download. What do I need to know today? That guides my next action steps towards my goal. Do not let the outside world decide on your level of belief. Do not let other people who don't know your why and have their own fears put those limitations on you. If you want to go after your goals, if you want to go after your dreams relentlessly, this is the most important foundational work. You need to brainwash yourself to believe in your vision every single day. So those are the 5 lessons that I have learned in 2024 that I wish I knew a year ago, and the advice that I would give myself a year ago. Please let me know in the comments which was most powerful for you and which you're going to take on today. Enjoy.